She won't fuck me cause I'm black. My dad don't like me cause I'm black, but she Hispanic, so she black. Ain't got no time for none of that. Bitch, I'm a Jew, so I'm black. Cops wanna kill me cause I'm black. Ops wanna drill me cause I'm black. Can't get no job cause I'm black. She won't fuck me cause I'm black. My dad don't like me cause I'm black, but she Hispanic, so she black. Ain't got no time for none of that. Bitch, I'm a Jew, so I'm black. Learn to flip pennies cause I'm black. Know about semis cause I'm black. Yeah, in the hood we was strapped 10 toes down, we wear sacks. Substitute Israelite with black, and you gotta guess where I'm at. I be with the priest chilling hard, right on Malcolm X Boulevard. To you niggas, to me the stars. Everything about my life is hard, but I'll never fold, play my cards. You want beef? What's the cause? Watch your mouth, I hit hard. Back up for you need gauze. Everything you say, mad pause. Every move I make is within them laws, and I've been the boss cause it's beneficial. Ask the enemy, I've been official. If not for weed, I've been the official. Homie, I understand why you smoke. Been depressed since slave boats, but the Bible is the cheat code. Far as blunts don't need those. Brotherhood is life's cheat code. Cops won't kill me cause I'm black. Ops won't drill me cause I'm black. Can't get no job cause I'm black. She won't fuck me cause I'm black. My dad don't like me cause I'm black, but she Hispanic, so she black. Ain't got no time for none of that. Bitch, I'm a Jew, so I'm black. Cops won't kill me cause I'm black. Ops won't drill me cause I'm black. Can't get no job cause I'm black. She won't fuck me cause I'm black. My dad don't like me cause I'm black, but she Hispanic, so she black. Ain't got no time for none of that. Bitch, I'm a Jew, so I'm black. I don't gotta buy J's cause I'm black. I don't play 2K just cause I'm black. Fought my whole life cause I'm black, but I left his eye blowing black. Ain't got a trap cause I'm black. Ain't got not one face tat, but I'm still getting profile cause I fit these crackers profile. Scruffy beard with the dark skin, baggy sweats with the butter Timbs, so they know they can't butter him, so they rather jail sound muzzle him. If you touching him, ain't just comfort him, cause I'm a law keeper, a peace bringer, no tranquility, a peace bringer. Deuce to the street sweeper, curves flip, I be spicing shit, but gunned I would die in the icy wrist, that showed in my chest ain't for blocking shit. Touch me, I'm all on you blocking shit, cause I'm black, you think I gotta cock the fifth? Well, that's a stereotype, that's accurate, cause crackers laying niggas in these cold streets and then telling my brother he got a beef with me. Cops wanna kill me cause I'm black. Ops won't drill me cause I'm black. Can't get no job cause I'm black. She won't fuck me cause I'm black. My dad don't like me cause I'm black, but she Hispanic, so she black. Ain't got no time for none of that. Bitch, I'm a Jew, so I'm black. Cops won't kill me cause I'm black. Ops won't drill me cause I'm black. Can't get no job cause I'm black. She won't fuck me cause I'm black. My dad don't like me cause I'm black, but she Hispanic, so she black. Ain't got no time for none of that. Bitch, I'm a Jew, so I'm black. So I'm black. Cops won't kill me cause I'm black. Ops won't drill me cause I'm black. Can't get no job cause I'm black. She won't fuck me cause I'm black. My dad don't like me cause I'm black, but she Hispanic, so she black. Ain't got no time for none of that. Bitch, I'm a Jew, so I'm black. Cops won't kill me cause I'm black. Ops won't drill me cause I'm black. Can't get no job cause I'm black. She won't fuck me cause I'm black. My dad don't like me cause I'm black, but she Hispanic, so she black. Ain't got no time for none of that. Bitch, I'm a Jew, so I'm black. I can't fight the cops and the ops. Toting Glocks, every on the block. While a crack tucked in the sock. Instead help the ones I love. We was on the block for the grub. If you from my side, then it's love. Wanted big knots, busting out the jeans, but we was hurting all the fiends. Without that crack, you look just like me. Dirty nigga from the concrete, but the white man dealt his hand, so we eating out the trash can. People ride by, don't extend a hand, cause to them, this an average black man. So for him, that's why I gotta make it. I ain't talking rap. Before the slave ships, I'm one of a kind.
Hey, let's clap it up. Let's clap it up. Hey, what's good with y'all, man? This is Precinct Officer Thawaga Bar. This is the Law and History class. We're going to talk about Halloween, among some other things. I'll go into probably two more different topics before I go into Halloween. I got young man Avion in here. Officer Abadiala is in Texas. You know what I mean? And I will be there on the weekend, okay, for the cookout, for the down south cookout in Texas. Yeah, man. So there's a lot of things that we could have went into, but because the holiday, what I think is what is Halloween is Friday. Halloween is Friday. I wanted to go over that. It's always good for a review. We could have just played the video from last year, you know, which was heavy. I went into some heavy information. Some of the same information I'll go into tonight, but I'll also be bringing out some other things, different authors and people who talked about the origins of Halloween and that holiday that is basically for children. It's basically a holiday for children. Halloween. Of course, adults get dressed and have costume parties and all of that. But like all of the holidays that we celebrate, there's a reason why we celebrate them. And typically it's not because, it's part of our identity. Well, not typically. Every time it's not because it's something that came from us and came from our people. It's something that came from another group of people. All right. Now, there's a video that I saw. If you could give me Psalms 83. Okay. There's a video I saw with a young lady that posed some very interesting questions. And so let me get this video. I'm going to play this video and then we'll talk about it. But first, before I even get into that, now I haven't seen the video, but I've seen the post. There's talk about, I've seen one post with a black woman and she has a red hoodie on. And she is saying that basically because of the food, so the SNAP benefits being cut off, that black people are now going to start attacking white people. And we are going to come for white people and we are going to eat them. She referenced the book, The Delectable Negro. Any of you that's familiar with it, that book, I think I talked about it here, or maybe I talked about it on Black Authentic Truth, but that book goes into how white people would partake in cannibalism against the slaves. Particularly one of the stories is about Nat Turner. General Hyman talked about this on the West Coast Cookout, where Nat Turner, basically after they unalived him, took his life, they boiled his flesh and they, ate parts of his flesh for consumption and oil and made purses out of his skin. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Would you guys? No, I want Psalms, and so it'll be right in the middle of the book. Okay. Psalms 83, chapter 83. You got it? No sweat. Take your time. But this is how we all learned this way. We all came up this way. Learning the Bible, learning where things is in the Bible, where different books are in the Bible, Yeah, where was I at? But yeah, didn't you have another video with a sister that said on the 1st, November 1st, black people were going to rob white people. And this is based on the fact that SNAP benefits have been cut off. And I said, it's such a silly thing. And this reminds me during the George Floyd era with those protests, this reminds me of the militia, right? But I just want to speak to the point of these women coming online, or black people, period, coming online, making these type of threats. What you're going to do is you're going to get a lot of black people hurt. You're going to get a lot of black people killed with your idle threats on social media about what black people are going to do because you are not getting EBT. You understand? You're going to get a lot of people hurt by running your damn mouth. Like the Bible tells you in James that the tongue, it boasts great things and it kindle a fire. What you don't understand in your ignorance as black women and black men and Hispanic women and Hispanic men is that your oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of, and he's been given the power to be able to do what he does. He rules the earth because of the blessing that the Lord gave him. Now, in your foolish carnality, if you think that you are going to fix your problems of hunger, fix your problems of not having any money by committing violence against your oppressor, you are sorely mistaken, and you are going to get more people hurt or even killed with that foolish talk. You understand? That is foolish to talk like that, especially from some loudmouth broad that doesn't know what the hell she is talking about. Do you know what your ancestors did when they didn't have food? Do you know what your ancestors did? Do you know what you come from? You come from a people who were sharecroppers during the Great Depression. You come from a people who came through the transatlantic slave trade and worked their behinds off. You understand? You come from a people who gathered together and built towns and cities in spite of the oppression, in spite of the racial hatred. That's where you come from. You don't come from a people who are animals and who are carnal and who fixes their problems by hurting other people. So you see, this thing that is happening or is about to happen with, all of these benefits being cut off. This is the Lord's doing, and it's being done so that you could come back to your people and lose your goddamn pride that you have. You're so prideful and you're so privileged in America that you think that you deserve everything and someone owes you something when no one owes you anything. You owe the Lord everything. We owe the Lord everything. You understand? And you being prideful as though you deserve something, when if it wasn't for the Lord, your oppressor, the white man, would have already destroyed us if it wasn't for the Lord. So a lot of y'all better rethink the things that you are saying, the things that are coming out of your mouth. And in case in point is what happened during the George Floyd riots. And what happened was you had a militia start up by a man named Jam Master Jay. He used to be a DJ, and he got about 200 black people to put on all black, and they would carry guns and they would march and walk to the most racist places and monuments and show, a sign of strength and force. And then one day, one of them shot themselves while they were marching. Then something else happened, and then he got arrested. And then the next thing you know, they are no longer around. You see, the point I'm making is there is no revolution without knowing your identity and without the Lord being behind you. You understand? There is nothing that you could possibly conjure up in the black community. There's nothing that has happened with black leaders in the past. And might I say, this is no disrespect to the black leaders, to the Malcolm X's and the Martin Luther Kings and the Marcus Garveys that, had a vision and wanted to make some change. There's nothing against them. But if you don't have the Lord with you, it will never work. It will never succeed. You know what? If you could just drop that. I want you to hold that with your finger and go to Joshua. Joshua's in the first, it's in the front. So it would be in the front of the, you'll find it in the front, right? Just hold that right there, because I still want to go to that precept, right? Without God in heaven, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, you don't stand a chance. You got to think logically. Let's just say that we want to fight back and we decide everyone's going to fight back, men, women, and children. We're going to get guns and, we're going to get ammunition. Nigga, who makes the ammunition? Who makes the guns? I was just speaking about that, how black, Hispanic, Native Indian people, you don't even have land to where you could produce textiles. You could produce raw materials. You could have something that has an infinite abundance to where you can keep producing it. No, the same people that you want to war against, you have to get the weapons from, which makes no sense. And the scriptures say, we do not war against flesh and blood, but against principalities, spiritual wickedness in high places. You don't understand what you are up against, and your emotional thinking and your dumbass logic. Excuse my language. Do you have that? Just Joshua 1:8. Give me Joshua 1:8. Chapter 1, verse 8. Make sure you got the microphone.
This is the book of Joshua, chapter 1, verse 8. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but shall meditate therein day and night.
You should see, this is the problem. We don't have a law. We don't have a common ground when it comes to black people. One black person is saying this, another is saying this. One black person is a Republican, another is Democrat. One black person is Christian, another one is Muslim. None of these things are who we are, in which we should be governing ourselves by. Go ahead, Ak.
That they mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein.
So we have law, statutes, and commandments. And these laws are beautiful because they make life easy and they make life fair. Whereas when you try to do things on your own as Black and Hispanic people, what you end up doing is hurting one another. What you end up doing is lying to one another. What you end up doing is cheating and stealing from one another. What you end up doing is hating one another without a cause. And these rules and these laws would fix all of the problems that you see in the Black community. All of the things that your oppressor points at and says, that's the problem. All of those things that they talk about and all those things that we know is wrong with us could be fixed overnight if we gave this a chance, which we have never given it a chance, right? But we're willing to say, you know what? I'm going to give carnality a chance. I'm going to give my emotions a chance by saying, you know what, white people, you took my EBT. Trump is cutting off SNAP. You know, come November 1st, I'm going to do this. All Black people is going to do this. Bitch, you ain't going to do anything but get a lot of people hurt and a lot of people killed. Go ahead, Ak.
For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous.
Prosperous. Read it again.
For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous.
You shall make your way prosperous. Keep going.
And then thou shalt have good success.
Thou shalt have good success. Meaning there is no success. I don't care how radical you sound, how many guns you walk around with marching, how many people you have marching. You will not be successful without the law, statutes, and commandments. It just is not going to happen. And even if in the ISUPK, we tried to do that, is that what the Lord would want? Does the Lord want us to march in front of the Washington Monument with AR-15s? Is that what the Lord will? No, see, the Lord don't want that, but in your carnal mind, you think that you are going to, that's the only way you can make a difference. In a carnal mind, meaning when I say carnal, I mean your flesh. Your flesh thinks that it has all the answers. And that's why the Bible say we war against the spirit. Our flesh war against the spirit, because there are things that you see and things that people say that will make you emotional and make you want to respond in a certain kind of way. There are things that we see all the time. Today, I just read where the officer that murdered Sonia Massey, he just got, he was charged, he was found guilty for second-degree murder. The sister that had the pot of boiling water, and they went in the house, and this animal took her life. You understand? That video enraged Black and Hispanic people. The video of George Floyd with the officer sitting on his neck after he was already subdued, it angered not only Black people, it angered decent folk. Meaning, I'm saying just anybody of any race was upset at that video. It wasn't just Black people that were rioting in the streets when that happened. It was all nationalities out there, because that was insane to see. You know what I mean? But in your emotion, in your carnality, you could do things and say things that, you know, the end result is not what you want. It is not going to fix the problem. You understand? We come from ancestors that didn't have a damn thing, and they didn't fight and try to war with the white man. What they did is go build for themselves. They went and built towns, and they went to go build Black Wall Street, and they went to go build Slocum, Texas, and they built Allensworth, California, and they built Rosewood, and they built all of these towns in all over United States at a time when where everybody knew that white people hated their guts. Right. They didn't say, you know what, you better give me 40 acres and a mule, or come November 1st, all Black people gonna start robbing white people. That is something dumb to say on social media. And that is the mark of a child and somebody who does not know what they're dealing with when you deal with your oppressor. Okay. So you can drop that. Okay. Now let's get, just hold the next precept, which was Psalms 83, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. You could drop Joshua and hold Psalms 83. Just hold that for me. All right. So that's the thing. Like you had I've seen one video and I read a post. So one video is a sister that is talking about doing something to all white people, talking about because of the SNAP, because of the benefits being cut, we're going to start robbing white people. You know what I mean? And we're going to not only will white, this is a lot of these sisters need medication. She goes on to say, you know, she referenced the delectable Negro and said, we're going to eat you. Somebody need to get their sister, their mother, their auntie off of the internet. Then there's another one with a sister saying, come November 1st, we're going to rob white people. You know what I mean? And what you don't understand is the spirit that the Lord put into the white man. This is what he wants. He wants the opportunity to purge on you already. And like I said, that type of rhetoric, that type of talk is going to get a lot of black people killed. It's going to get a lot of black people hurt. You know what I mean? Black people that just want to mind their business. You know what I mean? So, yeah, so with that, that's that story. And I referenced the Sonya Massey story, which, you know, is horrible. That was a horrible story. That's a very hard to watch video. You know, that video will enrage you. The scriptures say oppression makes a wise man mad, and that will definitely put your phone on mute. That will definitely, well, I'm telling you to put your phone on mute. Let me put my phone on mute. Good night. I thought it was on mute. Those things will definitely enrage a man. You know, the Bible says oppression makes a wise man mad. So you're a fool if you see what happened to Sonya Massey and you don't feel anything as a Black and Hispanic person. You're not wise. You're a fool. You understand? Good night. I feel like I'm having a sister reunion in the comments. Goddamn, I thought I was doing class, but I get, well, shit, let me type in, hey, shalom, sisters. I'm just playing with y'all, right? So where was I finna go? What I'm going to? Okay, now I got this video. Let me get, now this is a video I do have. Let me get this video. Right.
Don't mean to say this like to be disrespectful, and maybe some people are gonna think this sounds dumb, but I feel like there's a deeper reason why, you know, people of color and specifically the Black community have been relentlessly persecuted. Like, I mean, just the things that happened during slavery alone, like, were insane. But I don't know, the more I learn about Black history and the ways that, you know, people who literally worked in the government, like the CIA, all these different people in power were trying to ruin the Black community. And it makes me think, dude, I feel like, is there something more going on here than just racism? Because it's like, come on, you're telling me you're doing all of this stuff just because you don't like someone's skin color? I feel like, what if, I have this theory that, like, what if Black people have some type of superpower? Like, what if they have, I don't know, if they're just born with something very valuable that we don't really know about, but maybe, you know, like I said, these rich people and these people in power, maybe they figured it out a long time ago, and maybe that's why they were like, oh, we have to, like, get rid of them, blah blah blah. I don't know, I feel like maybe they have something special that we are not taught about that is linked to them being people of color, you know? And I've seen some Black creators come on here and try to explain how special it is to have melanin in your skin and how it has all these different properties. But I don't know. I just feel like I feel like this. I have this theory that this goes so much deeper than maybe a lot of us realize. Because I'm sorry, but I don't think you're gonna go out of your way for all these hundreds and hundreds of years to try to ruin one group of people over something as silly as, oh, their skin is a different color. Like, I feel like there's something that we don't know. I'm telling you, there's something special about them that they don't want us to know. Okay, this is just something that I've been thinking about recently, and I'm like, maybe if there are some Black creators that maybe they already made a video and I just didn't see it, I don't know, but like, I don't know, maybe this sounds dumb. Like, or maybe this is like, yeah, no shit, Sherlock, but you know, it's just something I was thinking about.
Now, this is a smart, inquisitive woman, analytical woman that is sitting there observing Black people, and she's wondering, what is it that makes everybody hate Black people so much? It just can't just be because of the color of their skin. Maybe there's some type of superpower or something we don't know about, but she just looking at it from and we know the Bible, so I'm saying, looking at it from a carnal perspective, from a fleshly perspective, it just doesn't make sense to certain people who are inquisitive and observe something and observe how Black people have been being treated throughout the centuries, observe all the effort that the United States government has put into oppressing and suppressing Black organizations, observe how the CIA has infiltrated groups, and observe COINTELPRO, how they put drugs in Black communities, and observe how white people have actually won. They have actually won. They're the conquerors of America, the Americas. They, decimated the Native Indians. They brought Black people over here as slaves and subjugated them, and yet they still have vitriol and hatred towards Black people, and they still make Black people the butt of all their jokes and of their racist talking points, a la Charlie Kirk. And so she's asking all of these things, and she's just like, there's got to be something. And Black content creators that then came on and said, yeah, it's the melanin. It's the melanin in the skin that's so special about Black people. And so she's posing this question, and I applaud her because she's very observant. And the answer to her question is that Black people are, in fact, the biblical ethnic Jews of the Bible. That's why all of these things happen to Black people. And it's not just about the color of our skin. We know that. And, in ISUPK, the things that we say about the white race is not because white people are white or they have blonde hair and blue eyes. It's because of the actions of their forefathers. It's because of spiritually who the Lord said they were. The same with Black people. It is not about our Black skin. I mean, some of it you can say the things that come out of their mouth is, oh, you black this, I'm white. But it's more on a spiritual level of why these things are happening. And if you could give me Psalms 83, okay, because we'll get to that. Yes, she is definitely. And then before you get to that, let me just respond, Salakia, to the sisters. I was just playing. I just want to let y'all know I was playing, okay. And I don't want to knock y'all zeal. You know what I mean? Y'all got that zeal. Y'all got that sisterhood. I ain't trying to knock it. You know what I mean? But yes, she is using logic, Kapaj. She is using logic. She is definitely on to something. We wish that they all could be like that. We wish that all of them can have a objective view and stand back and just look at what has happened. A smart person would do that. But it's also a spiritual thing that the nation of Edom would have a perpetual hatred against Jacob, the Israelites. Go ahead. Let me hear that. It's the book. You saw that verse 1, 83 verse 1. Excuse me. You got it? You there? Let me see. I'll start this one. I'll read this, okay? This is the book of Psalms, chapter 83, verse 1. A song of Psalm of Asaph. Keep not thou silence, O God. Hold not thy peace and be not still, O God. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult. They that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. And they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against you, against thee. The tabernacles of Edom, that is white people today. The Ishmaelites, that's Arabs today. Of Moab, the Chinese, and of the Hagarenes, Africans, Gabal, Ammon, Japanese, Amalek, the so-called Jewish man today, Philistines, with the inhabitants of Tyre. Philistines were Africans, okay? The Philistines, and I was supposed to talk about the Philistines, but the Philistines come up out of, I believe it's, they're one of the tribes of the Egyptians, if I'm not correct. If I'm correct, I know they are Hamites, though, for sure, okay? Assur Assur also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. Do unto them, Salakia. So let me just stop right there. So all of these nations have conspired against God's chosen people. So also an answer to the question is, why do black people get that much hatred all across the board? It's not just from white people. And they get this disdain from different groups. You see different groups, that immigrant groups that come into America, and they have this type of disdain and this prideful attitude towards blacks, as though they are better than blacks. And you see the things that have happened throughout the community, the black community, with the different foreigners in the community, making money off of the community, selling poison to the community, getting rich and things of that nature. Well, this is prophesied in the Bible that this is what would happen. This is the reason why you see it seems like everybody is against black people. Although they would follow black people, the trends that we set, you know, the way we talk, the way we move, the way we dress, the way our women's bodies are shaped, the way our lips are, they would copy all of that, but yet they still hate us. You know what I mean? They still have a disdain for us, you know what I mean? Which is very confusing, but a smart person would say, what is it about these people? I know it is something special about them. I see this. She can see what's special about black people, even when we're still at the bottom of society in the greatest nation on the planet Earth. She can still see, and she can still question, like, there is something about black people. Maybe they have a superpower. Maybe it's something we don't know, because why is all of this energy used to hate on them? It's because we are the children of God. And it's just a spiritual thing. It's not just because we're black. It's because we are the biblical ethnic Jews of the Bible, you know, and many nations know this. And if we were to ever wake up, there is a fear that they have, like, if these people ever come back and take their place, we would be in trouble. You know what I mean? So they're okay with you disrespecting one another. They're okay with gun violence in urban areas. They're okay with our women twerking and on stripper poles. They're okay with us being destroyed. They're comfortable. They're comfortable with a black man that's supposed to be strong, masculine. They're comfortable with him being feminine and him being gay and him being LGBTQ. It makes them comfortable. He's not a threat that way. You know what I mean? But if he has if he speaks strong, if he stands strong, if he looks strong, if he articulates himself strong, he's a threat. You know what I mean? And so this is the reason why, you know, these things has happened. You know what I mean? That's basically it. So shout out to her. We need more people to start to ponder why Black people are so hated across the earth, and why why is it that so much energy has been used throughout the years, the decades, in order to oppress Black people. There has to be something more to the story. And there is something more to the story. ISUPK.com. Get in these classes and you'll find out what's more to the story. Okay. So with that, I'm going to go into my topic. We're going to talk about Halloween. Let me I should have loaded these earlier, these images. So we're going to talk about Halloween and break down and get some more insight in the history of Halloween. 1 second. Let's see. I gotta get these links. Go to this one. Do some reading. Okay, that's right there. Oh, that's perfect. It landed right where I wanted it to be. Okay. That's perfect. Now, as y'all know, maybe you don't know, maybe you forgot. That's why, when it comes to the truth is about us being around each other. If you can't be around physically, you in class, continually renewing your mind. If you could go back to Joshua, because this goes with Joshua 1:8. This is what the truth is about. Many times, in my mind, I do be wanting to bring out new things that I learned. I do be wanting to talk about, historical artifacts and stuff that's just, it just gives another dimension and another perspective on the truth and, factually. But, it's always good to talk about the things that we all grew up in and continually talk about the things that, we deal with in America. We deal with holidays all the time in America. We grew up to those holidays. We grew up with the love of them. And many of us, we were wholeheartedly, into these holidays. And so when we talk about them, it's good to always remind you, that God is against holidays, but it's always good to review, such as, any other precept or any other law or command statute in the Bible. It's always good to hear it over and over again. Why? Because when you stop hearing the truth, when you stop being around brothers and sisters, what happens is those demons start to come in. They start to get in here, you know what I mean? And things start, the demon is your conscience, right? It starts to talk to you, and you might end up taking an outlook or doing something that you're not supposed to be doing, right? So us constantly hearing the word and stuff keeps us sharp. It keeps us sharp, and it keeps us invigorated with the spirit of the Lord and the words of the Lord. And they're always in our mind. Instead of like Cardi B being in your mind, or some podcaster being in your mind, something, some song, you know what I mean? The point is that you meditate on it. And go ahead, let me hear that. Read that again. Because this is exactly what I'm talking about.
This is the book of Joshua, chapter 1, verse 8.
Uh-huh.
This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night.
You shall meditate on it day and night. It shall not depart out of your mouth, right? And another way you can look at it is that it's not going to depart out of your, you might not be saying it, but you're listening to another brother say it. You listen to a priest and prophet say it, right? And it's going into you. Same as if you were reading it yourself. Read that from the top, please.
Verse 8.
No, I mean, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night.
You shall meditate therein day and night. So you want to constantly be thinking about this, meditating on it, just be mindful of what the scriptures is saying. 1 second, let me get so we're gonna pull this first one. What is this? Okay. So you can drop that. Yeah, you can drop that. Yeah. So Halloween, as y'all know, Halloween is Samhain. Now, the way it would have been pronounced is Samhain. Okay, Samhain, but because I don't feel like doing all that, we're just gonna say Samhain, okay, or Halloween. And I'm gonna read. Okay, it says that Samhain was celebrated from October 31st to November 1st. It was an ancient Celtic holiday that brought the end of the harvest season and the beginning of winter, what the Celts considered the darker half of the year. It was a very important fire festival for the Celts, which recognized the veil between the living and the dead able to be crossed. Celebrated mostly in Ireland, Scotland, and the Isles, the Celts lit large bonfires with large festivals, eating and drinking in preparation for the coming winter, for the coming winter months. Bonfires were also thought to scare away the evil spirits that were walking the earth. This was also a time when people turned to divination to appease visiting spirits. Divination. To appease visiting spirits, Celts had rituals and made offerings. They would leave a plate of food outside their home as to not upset any of the visiting spirits. Families worshiped their ancestors and even prepared plates for the deceased relatives. So this is part of Samhain, part of Halloween, of the ancient custom of Halloween was, people thought that, the veil between the living and the dead was very close. And so the dead could pass through on this day. And so because of these spirits, people tried to appease these spirits, and they would do things like make food and leave it outside of their house so that they would think that the spirit would come and enjoy some pumpkin pie with a nice warm cup of coffee, and he would be on his way. You know what I'm saying? So this was one of the, the beliefs of Samhain, of Halloween. All right, let me get the next slide. If you could grab Ecclesiastes. What is it? 9 and 5. Ecclesiastes 9 and 5. Now it says, as Christianity swept over Europe, many pagan practices were incorporated into the religion. Samhain became All Hallows Day, which later morphed into what we now know as Halloween. Irish immigrants would later bring those customs to America. Halloween today started really being popular around the 1950s and 1960s. Okay. And if I could, I'm going to read, let me screen share real quick. I'm going to screen share. You got it? Okay, you just hold it. Okay, just hold it. So this is, let me see if I can blow this up. Can I blow it up? I can't blow it up. All right. This is a journal article. This is from so the authors is Louis Freyberg and Selma Freyberg. This is from American Imago, volume 7, number 3, November 1950. Okay, this is page 7. It says, Salakia. I'm in the wrong spot. I was on the wrong one. This is Halloween in America, Contemporary Customs and Performances, volume 42, written by Jack Satino. This is the Western folklore. It says in 601 AD, let me make sure y'all seeing the same thing. Yes, y'all are. In 601 AD, Pope Gregory I, known as Gregory the Great, issued a now famous edict to his missionaries concerning the native beliefs and customs of the people he hoped to convert. Now, these native people were the ancient Celtic people, okay? It says, rather than try to obliterate native people's customs and beliefs, the Pope instructed, use them. If a group of people worship a tree, rather than cut it down, consecrate it to Christ and allow them to continue their worship. In terms of spreading Christianity, this was a brilliant concept, and it became a basic principle in missionaryism. Catholic holy days were purposely set at the time of native holidays. Christmas, for instance, was assigned the arbitrary date of December 25th because it corresponded to the midwinter celebration of many peoples. Likewise, St. John's Day was set at the summer solstice. Samhain, with its emphasis on the supernatural, was very pagan. So while missionaries identified Christian holidays with native holidays, they identified Christian holidays with Celtic holidays, their God and saints with native deities, they branded the earlier supernatural persons as evil and associated them with the devil. As representatives of the rival religion, Druids were considered evil, devil worshippers, and the gods and spirits they worship were just as devilish and demonic. The Celtic underworld inevitably became associated with the Christian hell. Okay. I think let me see if I can go. I can go. Yeah, I'm gonna go a little bit more, but just reading what we just read so far, you had in 601, Pope Gregory said, if you come across a people that worship a tree, allow them to worship the tree. If we can turn them into a Christian, let's get them on this side. So they can still have their pagan practices, but we're going to just put some of these things on the same dates as the things that we celebrate. So that's why you have Christmas. That's why you have Easter. That's why these things are in the Bible. Easter is Christian dogma. The word the Easter, as you know it, is the Passover, but they put Easter in there, right? And you're worshiping gods that were before, Christians took over these certain lands. These guys, like Easter is Ishtar, right? Goes all the way back to Babylon. But let me keep going. It says, the effects of this policy was to diminish, but not totally dispel beliefs in traditional gods. So that policy of the Pope wasn't to take away these other people's gods, right? It was, he wanted to he wanted them to have their traditional beliefs, to hold on to them, because that's how he can control them, right? According to priests, fairies were fallen angels, thus identifying them with devils in Catholic theology. The spirits of the dead still traveled. Fairies still roam, but they were deliberate attempts to define these creatures not merely as dangerous, but malicious. So as these things come together with Samhain coming together with Christianity, they're trying to define the things that are in Samhain, like fairies and witches, and try to compare it to something that's in the Bible to better explain it, right? It says, followers of the old religion went into hiding and were branded as witches. The Feast of All Saints was assigned to November 1st in an attempt to substitute it for Samhain. The day was in honor of every Christian saint, especially those that did not otherwise have a special day devoted to them. This feast day was meant to substitute for Samhain, to draw off from its devotion of Celtic peoples, and finally to replace it forever. So what the Catholic Church was trying to do was change the belief of the Celtics, but not destroy it. So they were trying to make something mean something else. So they had a day where they worshiped saints. It was called All Saints Day on November 1st. And so they said, we're going to change that to Samhain, but that didn't work either. And they had one more time that they tried it. Okay, let me get down. Let me see. It says okay, let me go back. It says the old beliefs never really died out. The very powerful symbolism of the traveling dead was too strong and perhaps too basic to the human psyche to be satisfied by this new, more abstract Catholic feast day. Recognizing that something closer to the original idea of Samhain was necessary, the church in the 9th century tried to supplant Samhain, tried to change it. This time establishing November 2nd as All Souls Day. On this day, the living prayed for the souls of the dead. But once again, the practice of retaining traditional customs while attempting to redefine them had the opposite result. The traditional beliefs and customs lived on. All Saints Day, otherwise known as All Hallows, and we still use the word hallow to mean sanctified or holy, continue the ancient Celtic tradition. The evening prior to the day was the time of the most intense activity, both human and supernatural. People continue to celebrate All Hallows Eve as a time of the wandering dead, but the supernatural beings were now associated with evil. That's Samhain. That's some more crazy beliefs. Karl Masbach said, just like the Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos. They leave pictures of the dead loved ones and food for their spirits to eat while visiting the land for a day. Wow. Yes, these are crazy beliefs, right? So now let me grab another. Now this is the bogs, right? The Irish bog bodies. Part of it, I'm just going to read it. It says some academics suggest that and argue that several ancient Irish bog bodies appear to have been kings who were ritually killed, some of them around the time of Samhain, which is Halloween as you know it today. Families buried loved ones in bogs to preserve their bodies. They believed during Samhain they would return. If you could, give me that precept. See, now this is dealing with the underworld. This is dealing with loved ones. This is dealing with loved ones returning. You trying to appease their spirits. And what you end up doing is making them a plate of oxtail. You end up making them a plate of tacos and, and give them a nice little refreshment drink and, go to sleep, hoping don't nothing happen. That's crazy, right? It's crazy because the Bible is specifically against this. If you could read that, Avion. Did I call you Abad? Oh, Avion. I mean earlier, not right now. Go ahead.
This is the book of Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes.
Right.
Chapter 9, verse 5.
Mm-hmm.
For the living know that they shall die.
Uh-huh.
But the dead know that not anything.
Right. So as you're living, we know we shall die. But the dead don't know anything. This is something not just for Halloween and what the belief of Samhain was as far as during this time the spirits walk the earth. This is for a lot of Black and Hispanic people today. A lot of Black Hispanic people today believe that their loved ones come around on the birthday. They believe that their loved one, their dead loved one, can hear them when they're talking to them. They believe their dead loved one. In fact, I just seen what some girl was saying that on the holidays, she leave a plate of food for her dead loved ones, or they call it the ancestors. Read that from the top out.
Verse 5. For the living know that they shall die.
Call it all the way out. Ecclesiastes, chapter what?
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 9, verse 5.
Okay.
For the living know that they shall die.
Uh-huh.
But the dead know not anything.
The dead don't know anything. What are you talking about? Why do we believe these things? Where did that come from? And you know what? I think like Avion, even without these holidays, people would just come up with a belief. Like if you lost your loved one and you didn't know who your God was, and you didn't have nothing to fall back on, and you was just living in the wilderness and your loved ones died, you probably would start to think like in your mind, like, you know, if it's a close call, if you're trying to get over a river and you barely made it, or you fought a beast and you barely survived, you probably say, my ancestor was looking over me. You probably develop some type of idea that the people that you know from the past that done passed away in your family are watching over you. When the Bible tells you the dead know nothing, you're at rest. Let your loved ones rest and be at peace, y'all. Stop stop holding on to their ashes and putting them next to the TV when they team. The Dodgers is in the final in the playoffs, the World Series, like they watching the game from heaven. The dead know nothing. You know what I mean? Stop acting like, they're watching over you, just because it's the day, their birthday or your birthday. It doesn't happen. It's not happening. You know what I mean? So when Samhain and Halloween, that's where that's one of the ideas is that the people that die come back as evil spirits, and you got to appease those evil spirits. You got to do something to ward off those evil spirits. Another thing that people did to ward off the evil spirits is they set bonfires. Okay, they set bonfires during this time, and that would supposedly ward off the evil spirits. Let me see. Yeah. That's it on it? Was it that the whole precept?
Nah, sir.
Okay, keep going. I'm sorry. I cut you off.
Neither had Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 5.
Mm-hmm.
Neither had they any more reward, for the memory of them is forgotten.
Man, I mean, that's straight up forward. It says, the living, you alive, you know what I mean? You know what you got to do. You know what to expect. But when you die, the dead know nothing. Neither is there any reward. There's nothing going on in the grave. There ain't no, you die and then you get wings. I seen that video right after Charlie Kirk passed away. They made a video where Charlie Kirk, he's sitting there at the same place where he got shot at, and he get up, drop the microphone, and then he get angel wings and he walk up into a stairwell to heaven, like a straight stairwell. And I said, you don't, like, that is a common thing with people, and especially people. It's funny, a lot of Black and Hispanic people don't believe the Bible, but all of a sudden when somebody passed away, they want to put angel wings on everybody. They want to act like this person is a guardian angel. You want to act like, there's some type of afterlife, like, oh, now, I done lived a hard life here on earth, and now I'm up in there looking down and I'm protecting you. Nigga, I don't want to protect you. I want to be at peace. Can I get a break? I had a hard life when I was here. I was on drugs when I was here. I was having shootout with niggas and stuff when I was here. I was making all the wrong choices when I was here. Now I'm at peace. Let me be at peace. Can I live? Can I sleep? You know what I'm saying? But let me get this next slide. That was it on that precept, right? Okay, I just want to make sure we get it all. Oh man. Let me see. How those do 4. I think I might have known. I got that. Now, this is something. We'll put this right here. We'll get into this. The sister said a full-time security job in heaven. Right. Like, bro, I don't know, in the Black and Hispanic community, well, that's in all communities. Apparently, when you die, you go into a full-time security job in heaven as a guardian angel. Apparently. It don't say that in the Bible though. But that's what people think. So it just shows you that's why it's so important to learn what you actually believe in. Because there's a lot of beliefs that people believe that is not even in the Bible. There are a lot of things, like if I want to be, okay, I'll be interactive with the chat. What are some of the things that we know that people say that are not in the Bible? I'll go first. What is one of them? Hate. God don't hate the sinner. He only hates the sin. What are some of the things that are not in the Bible, right? While y'all get that, this is go ahead, Avian, microphone.
Jesus loves everybody.
Jesus loves everybody. That's one of them. That's definitely one of them. Now, this right here, that's a good one too, because that's like a big one. That's a big one with people. Yes, definitely, Kanawa, sis. You going to hell. That's something that Christians love to say, that you're going to go to hell. Princess Asa said, God is good all the time. Yes, God is good all the time. Come on, I said, God bless the child that has his own. Who the hell made these things up? Some rapper or something? Like these, none of this stuff is in the Bible. You know, like just off top, like what Kanawa said. Kanawa said, you going to hell. Me, you, Commander Junior Hanna, nobody has the power to condemn anybody to hell. Only the Most High. You know what I mean? And we know that hell is a condition. Hell is not an actual place like how they believe. In the Christian church, they believe heaven is a place in the clouds with a rainbow. At the end of the rainbow, you know, you got gold and you got Jesus Christ and all that. And they believe that hell is a fiery place underground. Doesn't exist, right? God is good all the time. No, the Bible says that the Lord is a man of war. He can't be good all the time. Christ said that those that would not, serve me, I'm paraphrasing, bring them before me and slay them before my feet. That's out of Christ's mouth. So no, when you think about good and everything being good and everything being about love, the Lord, the Most High, our Christ wasn't like that. It says, God bless it. And then commas with this one, God bless a child that has his own. What does that even mean? So you mean the people that got something, the Lord done bless them, but the people that don't got anything, that are poor, the Lord don't care about them? Not in the Bible, right? Hey, Shalom, Adabar, what's good with you? Shalom, Lord of Christ. God protects the foot of his. Come on, that's what I'm saying. God knows. God knows my heart. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we know the Bible says the heart is desperately. Or what was how I go? The heart. The who can know the heart? The heart is desperately and wickedly evil. I think I'm saying it backwards, but you know what I'm saying. Motherfucker said that's Tupac's words. Only God could judge me. Cleanliness is next to godliness. Yes, I actually believed that when I was in the world. I like, you got to clean the house and stuff. Make sure everything clean, because cleanliness is next to godliness. No such scripture. Nothing. No such scripture. God is love, and we know that one. We know that one. But yeah, that's the point, man. The point is that there's so many things like y'all just show that are in the Bible that people that are not in the Bible that people believe. People believe a lot of things that are not even in the Bible. And so you got to challenge people on their belief system. It's like you believe in this stuff, but you can't substantiate it with actually opening up the scriptures and showing me that it's actually there. Right? So now getting back to Halloween. This is Anton LaVey. He said, I am glad that Christian parents let their children worship the devil at least one night out of the year. Welcome to Halloween. Anton LaVey is the founder of the Church of Satan, right? So the point is that during this time, although it is a lot on record about Halloween, about where it comes from, you got, All Saints Day, you got the Harvest Festival. It was a time where farmers would harvest their crops for the winter. You have all of these things that they say about Halloween, but you also have an underworld and a dark world in the real world. You have Satanists and stuff that do things during this time. Children come up missing during this time. You know what I'm saying? Read that for me. Read it with the microphone.
Don't forget that Eve ate the apple.
Right. Eve ate the apple. The Bible doesn't even mention an apple. Where did they get the apple from? Like, the Bible doesn't mention apple. It doesn't say apple. So, like, it is a lot of things. And then, of course, we know it's a misunderstanding of the scriptures when you ever see those pictures of Adam and Eve and they're naked and they're hiding themselves with leaves. Like, no, bro. That's not what is actually happening. That lets you know that these people, your oppressor, doesn't even have the ability to break down the Bible, and the mysteries of the Bible and the understanding of the Bible was not even given to them. Though they meticulously search records and they read the Bible and they have all of these assertions, they still don't understand it. You only will understand the Bible once you come into the Israelite school of universal practical knowledge, where the Bible becomes alive and you see that the Bible is a black man's book, and it becomes basic and practical and easy to understand. It becomes a situation where you say, whoa, dang, this was in there this whole time. I was looking at the same Bible. This same Bible I've been reading my whole life for the last 40, 30, 50 years. And now it seems as though, everything is opened up to me. It makes more sense than my pastor ever could make the Bible make. Yeah, so so that's what you're doing. So now I want to get to, because I read this, I want to read another article on Halloween, and this one, I forgot one. There's one more we need to get. Let's get this. Let me remove this. There's another part to this history. Excuse me. Crom Croc, okay? Now, this was a god named Crom Croc. And it says, according to the ancient Book of Invasions, each Samhain, the people of one Irish village sacrificed 2/3 of their children, their corn, their milk, and their milk to the supernatural Fomorians. According to the later Dissensions and the Annals of the Four Masters, which were written by Christian monks, Samhain in ancient Ireland was associated with a god or idol called Crom Croc. The text claimed that a firstborn child would be sacrificed at the stone idol of Crom Croc every Samhain. They also say that Ireland's High King Tigernmus, along with 3/4 of his people, died while worshiping Crom Croc, their one Samhain. If you could get me what I want, Leviticus 18 and 21. Now you had this god called Crom Croc in ancient times. In the annals they wrote about, where people would sacrifice their children. It sounds very familiar. Very, very familiar. Okay. And I'm just showing you these things because you're sending your kids out to knock on strangers' doors, and you saying that you love God. And even in the Christian church, what they do is they say instead of the kids going out knocking on doors, they can come up in here in the house of Jesus, and they can, get their candy on Halloween in here, as though you're making it right. Whereas you are doing the same old custom of old. You got it? Okay, let me hear it.
This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 18, verse
21.
And thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire to Molech.
Thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire of Molech. You understand? Moloch or Molech was the god of the Molech, or Kamash was the god of the Moabites. And this was a god that the Israelites worship. And we worship. How you know we worshiped it? How you know it was the worship was prevalent? We just read the law not to allow your children to go through the fire of Moloch. But how did we know it was prevalent? If there was a law, that means that it was happening. If there's a law against it, that means it was happening, right? So that's how we know it was prevalent. That's how we know it was actually happening. We know Israelites were actually doing it. All right. They were sacrificing their children to Moloch. Moloch was a stone statue of a cow with horns, and the arms would be out like this. Let me see if I can make so people can see. The arms would be out like this of a cow statue, and people would put their children in the arm, burn it in the fire. It'd be on fire. They put their children in the arm and sacrifice their children. And so people were sacrificing their children to Moloch. And so we just read with Crom Croc. This was the same thing. People were sacrificing their children. Keep reading.
Leviticus chapter 18, verse 21. Neither shalt thou profane the name of thy God.
You can stop right there. That's it. So the same thing that was happening in ancient times, in the time of our forefathers, this later was a custom of Samhain, of sacrificing children. Later on, it became sacrificing. As you move more towards our time, it became they start to sacrifice animals and vegetables and their harvests. But the main thing was people. What kind of people? Children were being sacrificed. Okay? Children were being sacrificed in Samhain, or Sa'in, which is what you know today as Halloween. Let me see. Got some more. Now, another thing what people would do in order to ward off those spirits, what they would do is they would put on grotesque mask to cover their face and try to look very horrifying in order to ward off of these evil spirits that supposedly would come during this time of Halloween. And so you even had people, they would kill animals like pigs and then put the pig skin on their face during Samhain and Halloween. And so this is where the whole idea of the costume comes from, the tradition of the costume. Now, I'm going to fast forward. Now, if I fast forward, I'm sorry. I might be forgetting something, and I think I am. So let me drop that and let me get right here. So what we just read is about the children being sacrificed. And now what I want to say is this. We've been talking about this forever, right? And when you talk about the holidays, usually these holidays are predicated on the fact that people want to make their children happy. Now, many of the holidays you can say are for everyone, but Halloween is one of those holidays where you say this is for kids because it's about dressing up in a costume. Now, you got grown folks that dress up in a costume too, but typically it's about going door to door trick-or-treating and getting candy. That's the base of what we know today in America of this holiday. That's the basics of it, right? And many people will say, well, I hear what you're saying. I hear what y'all brothers be saying, but it's harmless today. It's like, we're not doing that. I'm not sacrificing my children. I'm going to show you how you are. Okay. So let me get this. Let me see. All right, we're right here. Now, this is another article, right? Now, I said what this article was earlier, but it's Halloween Ritual and Myth in a Children's Holiday. Halloween Ritual and Myth in a Children's Holiday. It says, to our knowledge, the holiday has only once before been subjected to psychoanalytic scrutiny. Richard Sturber, who was a psychologist, examines European, especially Italy, especially Venice observances for the dead on All Souls Day and American children's Halloween. So he's making a distinction between the European version and the American version. He finds that Europeans accept the fact of death. He says Europeans accept the fact of death, that we all going to die. They accept it. And by appropriate ceremonial commemorations, appease ghosts of the departed, their own, i.e., their own guilt and fear. So the Europeans, they accept death and they appease the ghosts of the departed. Now, on the contrary, he says, Americans, however, tend to deny death and consequently fear it greatly. So he said Americans deny death and they fear death greatly, unlike Europeans. They embrace it. The children who go about on Halloween in bizarre costumes represent the returning dead. By assuming this identity, they place themselves in a situation in which they may unconsciously be regarded as dead themselves. They therefore serve the double purpose of invoking the demanding spirits and appeasing them by their own deaths. For the parents, this is the equivalent of having sacrificed the children. Thus, the little drama is played out by an evening of fun atonement and made to be the dead for the neglect of them which arise from the American unwillingness to face a necessary but unpleasant reality. Meaning Americans, so it went in and said that basically because America is different from Europe, they look at it like our kids are just in costumes and our kids are just having a good night out. And our kids are having fun and they're getting candy, when in reality, they are taking the place of those spirits. They are basically sacrificing their children spiritually. Say with me. Say with me, brother. They are basically sacrificing their children. So in reality, you are, as a parent, you're sending your children to knock on doors. You are, as a parent, sacrificing your children. It's the same thing. And it's definitely the same thing with the Most High. You may not feel that it's the same thing, but it is the same thing with the Most High. we were done with let's get Jeremiah 10:1. We were done with that last precept, right? Let's get Jeremiah 10:1. It's the same, it's the same damn thing. As what they believed in the past, at appeasing, you got it. As what they believed in the past, appeasing those spirits, that's what you're doing with your children. You're doing it spiritually. You're doing it spiritually because your spirit is all in it. Your spirit is all about Halloween. And you're going to get the best costume for your kid. And you take pictures with your kid and think they're cute and all of that. And you are just reliving the things of the past from a people who are not even your people. They're not even your people. You know what I'm saying? In the times that we live in, okay, the times that we live in, it's crazy to even send your kids to perfect strangers' doors. What are you thinking? We live in a time where the most children are missing. Go ahead.
Like how there used to be a whole lot of cases where the razor blades be in the candy.
Exactly. There's a lot of cases where drugs have been put in candy. Fentanyl basically looks like Skittles. It can be all colorful, little round things like some Skittles. You know what I'm saying? But that was a good point. But you're sending your children to go, knock on doors and, like, are you even thinking? Are you even thinking anymore? As Black and brown people, man, this is something we shouldn't be doing anymore. This is something we need to throw away. And hell, a lot of Black and brown people ain't even getting any money right now. I don't know why in the hell you trying to celebrate. What is the point? What is the point in celebrating these holidays? You need to retain all the resources that you can, and instead of trying to go all out for your children to celebrate these holidays. It makes no damn sense. Especially if you watch one of these Halloween classes I did. You get the full history of it. You see that it don't come from your people. You see that it has nothing to do with anything. And you see that, the Lord is against it. Why are you still trying to do it? Maybe you don't love the Most High. Maybe you don't care. Maybe you just trying to, a slave will love anything. A slave loves anything. You know what I mean? And you go all out and spend this money, try to look cute and try to do this and try to be, in the in crowd and do what the world is doing. The Bible says, love not the world. That's what the Bible says. It says, love not the world or the things therein. And Halloween is one of those things where you done love the world. And listen, we done all grew up doing it. We done all grew up. I grew up, I remember a time, nigga, we was broke, nigga. You get a sheet and try to be a ghost. You like you don't have too many ideas, you know what I mean? But you like, I can get some paint, I get a sheet, and I'll be a ghost. I'll be something. Or you just go as yourself. Just so you can get some candy. Take a pillowcase and have it, get some candy. You know what I mean? But that candy ain't as important as serving the Lord, though. That candy is not as important as serving the Lord. That's what we need. That's what our children need the most. Let me get this precept. Let me read this real quick. You can hold that real quick. This is what our children need the most. You know what? I'm gonna go to it. I'm gonna go to it now. I did have it wrote down. This is Proverbs 22:6. It says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. You understand? You should train up Avion. Let's give Avion a hand. This is my son, and he up in the class, doing his best, tired, you know what I'm saying? Reading, you know what I mean? Trying to be strong. Avion. You ain't never celebrated Halloween. You don't know anything about Halloween. What do you think when you see Halloween? Go ahead and respond, and we do the mic. Just give me your honest thoughts.
Dressing up as your favorite fictional character and going to random people's houses for candy.
Right. So, do you ever feel like you missing out on something when you see kids, when you see people dressed up?
No, not really.
See, the thing is, man, you have to train up a child in the way they should go. You probably think in your carnal mind that your child is missing is missing out on something and that they're going to be hurt. But in reality, it is strengthening them. And in reality, they are looking at the world from a totally different perspective. And they become light years ahead of the same children who expect these different gifts and these things on these holidays, whereas they get these things throughout the year because of their good behavior and their good grades. Because of their good behavior and their good grades. And I don't mean this is the only example I can really use, and it's the realest I can be, and it's the most authentic I can be in making this point, is using myself as that point. But I could say, and of course, Aviant could say that. What did I just get you, Aviant?
A PS5.
What is the latest thing I got you because of your grades, because you got A's and B's?
Money?
No, but I got you something.
Oh, the shoes.
What kind of shoes are those? It's a specific type of shoe that he likes, right? It's a specific type of shoe that he likes, and it's not easy getting it. You know what I'm saying? But I have to reward my son for getting good grades. But the point is this. He was trained up in a way where he didn't celebrate holidays. And it did not hurt him like a lot of y'all think it's going to hurt your child. And they're going to be so heartbroken. They'll get over it. You know what I mean? And your child doesn't have to miss out on the things that they desire and they want and happy moments in their life because they're not celebrating holidays. It's not going to kill them. It's not going to hurt them. The problem is that a lot of times these holidays are about you. These holidays are not about the child. They're about you trying to prove your love to a child and you trying to show other people how much you take care of your child. And what it does is show how much you don't love the Most High. And more importantly, how you do not know the Most High and what he wants. You know what I'm saying? You said what? You want to go ahead? Go ahead. You can speak.
Some people think that like it's not like training your child, it's like forcing like your religion on them. Like, but to me, that's not really what it is. Because even if I wasn't in the truth, I wouldn't want to celebrate Halloween, even after learning its history. Like, if I learned about its history, I wouldn't want to celebrate it even more.
All right, let's get a brother a hand. And that's why history is so important. History is so important because what he just expressed is that even if he wasn't in the truth, but he just learned the history of something, it would make him not want to do it, which is what happens with a lot of Black people that are not in the truth. You get the new information, and you change accordingly. You get new information, you learn about what is something we learn. Okay, what is something somebody can learn, and then they just say, you know what, I'm cool. You can learn about pork on your own. You could look at some about pork, what it does to the body. You don't even have to know that God said don't eat pork. You can learn about crab on your own and say, you know what, now that I got this new information, I'm cool. I'm not eating nothing unclean. I'm not eating nothing. No, I'm good. I'm good on pork. I've run into people like that. They're not in the truth. They don't eat pork because they say pork is unhealthy. It's unclean. And they found out on their own. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. I'm not wearing a cross. I'm not wearing a cross because I found out that a cross was the way they killed all criminals. Why would I wear a cross to represent Christ? That's like me wearing a gun around my neck if Christ got killed with a gun. I'm wearing the instrument of his execution. I'm not going to do that. That don't represent Christ. You know what I mean? New information you can change. Okay. So that was good. Now, if you could give me that Jeremiah. Let's get that Jeremiah. We got about 2 more precepts. Wait, hold on. Since Rathanawa said doing drugs, just seeing how it make people act. Yeah, seeing how it make people act. The beautiful thing about, you know, certain things that go on in our community is that there are a certain kind of person that can look at something and see the results of it, and they never try it. But unfortunately, some of our people, whether it be from circumstances or, you know, the maturity level, they have to touch the fire in order to get burned. You know, like a child, sometimes some children can look at the fire and they won't touch it, but there's a child that'll touch the fire to know that it's hot. And they have to learn that way. They have to learn that lesson that way. But you're an intelligent person if you look at something and see what it is doing and say, because that drug in this case is doing this to my people, I will never touch drugs. You know what I mean? Let me hear it. I'll call it out.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 10, verse 1.
Uh-huh.
Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel.
Uh-huh.
Verse 2. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen.
The Lord is speaking to the house of Israel. He said, learn not the way of the heathen. And we know that Samhain was a pagan custom, and paganism or pagans are synonymous with heathens, meaning something that is a non-Israelite custom. Read that part again from the top. I'm sorry. Where you at?
Verse 2.
Okay, go ahead and read it from the top.
Book of Jeremiah, chapter 10, verse 2.
Uh-huh.
Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven.
And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. Learn not the way of the heathen. And people are dismayed. They were dismayed, not at the signs of heaven. The signs of heaven, what it's talking about in this precept, is the stars and the moon and the sun. And looking at these things as though these are gods, because the sun gives light to the earth and the moon and the stars give light at night. And people worship those things throughout the ages. But people were dismayed at their dead loved ones, the ancestors coming back during this time of Samhain, during this time of Halloween, the 31st to the 2nd, where the veil between the world of the living and the world of the dead can be crossed. And they felt like these people would come over and they said, you know what? I'm afraid of that. So you know what? I'm going to make a mask to ward off these evil spirits. You know what? I'm going to make a good oxtail with the good roux. And you know what I'm saying? And some macaroni and cheese. I'll make a good carne asada. You know what I mean? I'll make that plate real nice and I'm going to put it outside for this evil spirit. They were afraid of those quote unquote spirits of the dead that would come back, right? Because they had the ways of the heathen. But as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, the Bible tells us not to learn the ways of the heathen. And as I showed before, even with the journal article, and what the Lord said is that even though this was the old time Samhain, if you're celebrating Halloween today, you are spiritually sacrificing your children today, in this day and age, in modern age, in the eyes of the Lord. You're spiritually sacrificing them. They may not be dying, but they're taking the place of those souls. They're taking the place of those children that were sacrificed to Crom Croc in Samhain, to Moloch, in the ancient time when the Israelites sacrificed our children to Moloch, and the Lord had to instill laws and statutes to say, don't do that. Okay, that's it on that. Give me
No, it wasn't.
go ahead. Let me hear more. What else is it?
Verse 2.
Uh-huh.
For the heathen are dismayed at them.
Uh-huh. The heathen are dismayed at them. You can drop that. Let's get Jeremiah 2:14. We got one more precept after this. Okay. One more precept after this, and we'll be wrapping it up.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 2, verse 14.
Uh-huh.
Is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave?
Yeah, because this is the thing. When it comes to having a good time, because a lot of people will say a lot of our people just want to have a good time and enjoy themselves. And they think that these things are harmless. And that's because you're a homeborn slave. That's because you done came up in a place where you have been broke down to powder and have no identity. And now you are following the identity of your oppressors. You are a homeborn slave. You don't even have a mind of your own. You understand? You don't even think in your mind like, oh, I could have a celebration on my own, or I can get together with my family on my own, or I could have fun with my child dressing up on my own, or I could, eat and all my family get together on a day all from different states on our own, like how they say with Thanksgiving. You don't even have the ability in your mind to think that that could be possible, because all you are doing is following the holidays of your oppressor. You are a homeborn slave. Go ahead, I'll read it one more time from the top.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 2, verse 14.
Uh-huh.
Is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave?
Uh-huh.
Why is he spoiled?
Why are you spoiled? You are spoiled. You have lost the value of being an Israelite, of being God's chosen people, because you're a homeborn slave under another people. Matter of fact, it said in the history that this actual thing came from the Irish. When you go look in the historical record, you start looking at pictures around the 1950s, that Halloween really, that we know it today, that is when it really started to take off. But even during that time, Black people wasn't celebrating Halloween. It wasn't until around the 1960s, 70s where Black people really started celebrating the Halloween as you know it today. So really, it was just something that white people did. And let me just show you something. One of the early things that white people were doing, the Irish, when they came here, as far as Halloween, is they had something called hags. And they would men dress up as women and knock on doors, asking for gifts and hospitality. You understand? This is the people that you are following today when you get dressed up. And another thing I wanted to add about this, when it comes to Black people, especially like say adults having a costume party, what is that about? You're just a big child, because these costume parties really is about people getting high, having a good time, and then at the end, what happens at the end. You know what I mean? Some illicit sexual deviant stuff. You know what I mean? A lot of times sisters get dressed in these costumes and be looking like the biggest whore in the planet. And it's just an excuse to dress more provocative. But a lot of sisters that, you don't even have to get dressed. You could just be the hoe that you are and come to the damn parties. But really, that's what it boils down to. And it boils down to nothing, because it comes from nothing. The history, the traditions of Halloween come from nothing. You understand? That's what it comes from. And you had a lot of other things in there that I didn't go over, like bobbing for apples, and the biggest things, symbols of Halloween is what? Witches and jack-o'-lanterns. And there's a whole story behind the jack-o'-lantern, witches, fairies, all of that crap. But this is what it comes from. Why are we following this? All right. And you can see nothing is new under the sun. This is what they resorted to with Halloween. in the early 1900s. Men dressing up as women. And look at America today. Are you surprised? We are not surprised, all right? Now give me, I want you to get Revelation 11 and 8. Okay. Revelations 11 and 8. Revelations is the end of the book. This is the thing. And I got to keep stressing this. We cannot learn the ways of the heathen. Now, Halloween is a time where it's talking about ghouls and goblins, the underworld, horror, and, just horrible things as far as horror and monsters and ghouls and goblins and dragons and all of that creepy stuff. But you want to know really what is really creepy? What is really horrible? What is real horror? It is the Black and Hispanic community and how we're destroyed. That's horrible. When you look at the Black community, when you look at the Hispanic community, and you look at the things that we do to one another, how we don't love one another, how we treat one another, how we're violent to one another, that is a real horror movie. That is a real Halloween. That's something that you should really be afraid of. You get what I'm saying? That's a real horror movie. When you just look at God's chosen people, we are like a monster. We are like Frankenstein. You understand? You know why? Because we as a people have another man's religion in our head. We have another man's ideology in our heart. We live another man's lifestyle. We have another man's culture. We're like the creature that the man made in a laboratory, where he put all these pieces together and he made Frankenstein. That is what Black and Hispanic people have become, because we decided to turn our backs on the Lord. And now we are the monster from the Black Lagoon. You ain't got to talk about, these horror films and all these horrible zombie movies. Niggas are zombies. You understand? You're the creature from the Black Lagoon on Halloween. You're the werewolf. You're the what you call those things? You Gizmo. You're a gremlin. You're a booger wolf. You all of those things that are horrible and scary. There's nothing scary about, the monsters and stuff on TV. What's scary is real people that are destroyed. Real people that's supposed to be sitting up on the throne and sitting up high and supposed to be serving the Lord. And now they are destroyed and they're monsters and they're horrible to each other. Read that out. Let me hear that.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 11, verse 8.
Mm-hmm.
And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt.
Sodom and Egypt. Their dead bodies shall lie. Read that from the top again. Salakia.
Chapter 11, verse 8.
Uh-huh.
And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city.
Uh-huh.
Which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt.
The great city, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, which is America, the daughter of Babylon. Sodom because of the homosexuality, Egypt for the hardcore bondage. Their great bodies shall lie in the street. And you want to talk about horror? You ain't seen horror. Real horror is horror is right outside your door in the hood. Walk outside. There's dead bodies right outside. What that precept say? Their dead bodies shall lay in the street.
Their bodies shall lie in the street.
Those dead bodies lie in the street. Those dead bodies on the street corners. They're Black and Hispanic people that are on drugs. They're Black and Hispanic people that are living a lie. They're Black and Hispanic people that are Christian. They're dead. They're spiritually dead. You want to talk about monsters? Talk about the Black women that talk down to their children. You want to talk about monsters? Talk about the black men that turn their back on their children. Those are real monsters. Those are zombies. They're really dead spiritually. But if you come into this truth, you can become alive spiritually. You can become a people again. You understand? You can be that great exceeding army that the Lord wanted us to be. Don't talk to me about no damn Halloween. Halloween is the black community. That's the black community. Halloween is how we treat one another. We're monsters to one another. We're the Black Lagoon. We're the creature from the Black Lagoon and how we kill one another. We're bloodthirsty like Dracula, how we take one another's lives. You understand? We're like gremlins, how we have no compassion and no mercy on each other. Don't celebrate Halloween. Don't send your children out to celebrate Halloween and put costumes on and knock on strangers' doors. And also, you don't be a goddamn monster either to your people. With that, that's the class. All right. All right. Listen, man. Priest and Ops with the Walker Bar, man. I had Avion in here, young man Avion in here rocking with me. We, you know what I mean? We did what we came to do as far as laying down the history of Halloween and why not to celebrate it. Why it is one of those meaningless things to do, especially in this time where Donald Trump is oppressing Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. I mean, at any time, I ain't going to use that as an excuse, especially because God don't want you to do it. We have enough children that's missing. We have enough families that's struggling. Why add sin to sin by, trying to appease, people and your children by celebrating the holiday that don't even come from your people? Get in this truth, learn your history, learn who you are so that you are not caught in the web of the traditions of your oppressor. All right. With that, Israel, we up out of here. Appreciate it. All right. Appreciate all y'all. Something happened to the cord, man. You know, I like to go live in HD. I didn't go from my camera. Y'all know I like to go live in HD. We got this. Yeah, I know y'all knew something was wrong because I didn't start right up. Things are just not where they're supposed to be, man. Niggas always touching something. Need to do a skit like that. Maybe we do a Passover skit. Yeah. So nigga can't have nothing. I come into class and be like, man, where's the keyboard? Where is that? Man, a nigga can't never find nothing in this motherfucker. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like a skit like that. But no, I'm just playing. Yeah, man. So what is it? So, okay. Yeah, so I'll be in Texas. I'm going to Texas. I'll be out there for 2 days. I'll be out there for the cookout, basically. Try to get some interviews, some street interviews. That'll be really good for Black Authentic Truth. Get some street interviews. Asked about one of the questions I wanted to ask people. I asked this question at camp. I asked a white woman this question, and she actually agreed. I said, well, you think about what happened to Black people on the transatlantic slave trade. I mean, on a plantation, and how the family would be broken up. Like one day you're there, everything is fine. Next day, I'm finna say the pastor. Next day, the overseer or the plantation guy comes and says, I'm selling your daughter. I'm selling your husband, and rip that family apart. Is that any different than what we're seeing ICE do right now with them ripping families apart? And the white woman was honest, and she said, it's the same thing. So that's a question I want to ask people on the streets of Houston. If I get the opportunity, I'm gonna ask them that. And yeah, that'll be a good discourse. But anyway, Israel, we're about to get up out of here. Shout out to all the brothers and sisters that was up in here rocking with me. Let me give y'all some shout outs. So off the top of my head, there was a congregation in the comments. So off the top of my head, Sister Asa, Sister Barathanawa, Karl Masbaf, Kapa, Kanawa. Damn, KKK. So many Ks. Okay, I gotta look now. Okay. Daddy O Andrews, 9300. Shout out to you. I know Madabar was in here. Shakat was in here. Yep, Shakat was in here. Shout out to you. Yeah. Yeah, I got Officer Madabar. I don't know if Madabar, if you still in here, is you want me to text it? Is somebody oh, I didn't even see this comment. We should have been looking at the thing. It says, he said, what scripture says, do not trim your ways to seek love. I don't know if it's a brother or a sister, but it says like 144. They're probably not even in here. That would be Jeremiah 2:33. Let's get that real quick. Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 33. I didn't even see the question. You didn't see it either? Yeah, I didn't see it. Okay, read it real quick.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 2, verse 33. Why trimmest thou thy way to seek love?
Why you trimming your way to seek? Why you trimmest thou ways to seek love? You know, like, why are you trying to change who you are in order to seek love? And, you know, you want to put on the MAGA hat. And like what we typically say in here too, one of the things is people like brothers, the way you feel like, okay, I can't just be how I am. I gotta like shave my face. I gotta shave my face and be clean cut. I need to, I want to be in those spaces where people don't look at me sideways. So I want to shave my face. I want to take down my braids and, cut my hair off. And I want to look more presentable, clean cut. Or I say, you know what? I don't want to be like, I'm a black person. Those people over there, they niggas. Like, I'm different. So there's a lot of ways where you can trim your ways to seek love, and you're seeking that love from your oppressor. You're changing yourself for your oppressor. You're changing your ways. You're trimming them. Slowly but surely, you're trimming them off, and you're becoming less like what God wants you to be and more like what the prince of this earth wants you to be, more like the power of this earth wants you to be, in order to get acceptance, to seek love. Okay? All right. So with that, y'all have a good night. This is Officer Thawaga Bar from the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. I'm here with Young Man Avion. We'll be back next Wednesday, and possibly we'll talk about the Philistines, and we'll go over the chariots of God. With that, Shalom, Israel.